3, came to realize that a user department is an entity, it's a unit in a procurement entity that initiates procurement. And as we said that when we are looking at these components, we are looking at the procurement cycle as well. So from that, we came to the conclusion that the very first step in the procurement cycle is initiation of procurement. And we said that initiation is basically the initial stages, okay? And we say that during the time of initiation, that's when we come up with the prices of what we want, okay? And we say that during this period, the user department is assisted by the procurement and disposal units, okay? Then after you've realized how many things you need and how much they cost, you forward your budget to the second component, who is known as the accounting officer. So we came to section 3 and defines the accounting officer to mean an officer established by section 26. When you go to section 26, it gives you the different duties, stroke functions of the accounting officer. And one of the functions of the accounting officer is to confirm availability of funds. So now you have sent your quotation to the accounting officer, and the accounting officer has confirmed availability of funds. So that means our next step in the cycle is known as confirmation of availability of funds by the accounting officer. So now, we presume that the accounting officer has confirmed availability of funds. We have money. So what next? What next? So at that point, after us realizing that we have money, we have now to start procurement. But which unit? The procurement entity is under the duty of ensuring that procurement is done. That is the procurement and disposal unit. When you look at the law that provides for the procurement and disposal unit, that means our third
so many so much stuff.
Of so now, when you look at the procurement and disposal unit, one of its functions under the Act is to choose the most appropriate mode of procurement, so method. Okay, so then we say that before the procurement unit does the choosing of the most appropriate method, it has factors it should put into consideration. Okay, factors we consider when we are choosing the most appropriate method of procurement. We say the first factor is amount of money. Okay, amount of money, and we said as a result of that, we have a threshold in which regulations procurement guidelines of 2014. That one, because when you look at that threshold, it is very clear that if you are dealing with works and it is between this amount, the most appropriate method is open domestic. Okay, so that is the first factor. Then the second factor, what you are procuring. Are you procuring what? Services, supplies, whatever the case may be. Okay, because even when you look at the threshold, it is arranged according to what you do procure. Okay, you can't tell me that the cost of construction can be the same cost of a supply. Okay, then our third factor we consider after looking at what we said we have to put into consideration urgency. Okay, agency. Okay, look at the factors surrounding the occurrence of the event. If you deem that it is needed swiftly, okay, that clearly implies that you can't go through the process of advertising, pre-qualification, okay? It will take long, and when the subject matter is getting destroyed. And we say that when it comes to urgency, we basically have to look at what we call emergency situations. When you look at section 3, section 3 defines what amounts to emergency situations. They gave examples under section 3 to include but not limited to acts of God. What if it rains, dogs and cats, spears and guns? Okay? It rains. And you guys, you know, when you are doing orals, these rooms are out of bounds. Okay? You only access it when it is your turn. Okay? The sitting place is that veranda and that. Those are going to be doing for this. Those being from that class, that side. Those being from these rooms, the veranda. Okay? So these classes are out of bounds. So what if it rains heavily to the maximum? You guys can't enter here. Okay? And at that point, the director has to ensure that you guys are safe. Okay? If they delay, you may get problems, not so. So that what that means, it is an emergency situation. The director has to procure tents. So imagine if they go through the entire procurement cycle, it will take time. So putting that into consideration, it will determine the mode of procurement. Okay, so that means you can go for what we call direct procurement. You don't even ask, okay, depending on the agency you have. Then we said another factor is quantity. Okay, quantity. Okay, are the things you're intending to procure, are they many or they are limited in number? You can't tell me that LDC intends to procure liquid soap of 40,000 shillings, okay, and they go through the procurement cycle. Just putting the advert in New Vision is more expensive than the liquid soap they're intending to buy. Okay, so under such circumstances, we can choose the most appropriate mode, that is direct procurement. I just go to the shop, I buy liquid soap, we shall explain to the entity at a certain stage. Okay, then if not the quantity, we have to consider supplements. We have things we procure that need supplements. To supplement them. For example, just if it fits you well, they may give you facts. This was an example. At a particular time, they said that the local council of Wakiso bought 4 pickup caps of oil. Okay, but these pickups needed some spare parts. Okay, these are just supplements. Okay, so it is better the supplements are bought from that very person where you bought from. Okay, because if you go to another place, it will be a different story. So under such circumstances, you can't go back and advertise. It will take a lot of time. Okay, so the supplements will also determine the method. Have we left out any other factor? Those are the factors we had, and I'm very sure that's where we ended yesterday. Okay, so now I want us to appreciate these methods one by one. Yesterday I was trying to impart them, but people were extremely tired. And however much we could push, the doctrine of lashes applied to us. And we didn't make our application for extension of time was dismissed without process. Okay. However, we shall apply for the same set aside. Okay. Okay. So now, when you look at the act, It gives you all the methods of procurement. But what you should know, whatever method we are going to look at, you should put into consideration the factors we have. If you realize that in your workshop, you don't have amount of money in your workshop, not so? So that means now they want you to consider other factors other than money. You get it? Okay? Those doing task 1, okay? You have that task of choosing the most appropriate mode, okay? And your workshop is stating a particular type where you're supposed to restrict yourself. They are only 2, okay? Which we are yet to identify, okay? So, which section provides for the methods of procurement in entirety? Okay? So, when you look at Part 6 of the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Act, but get to know that they ask it in the orals because they know it's too long, you can't get those words. So they ask you and you say, cancel which law? Which law? You try saying the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Act. No, you get it. Others, they want to abbreviate it, but the abbreviation is hard than the entire act. So it's better you don't abbreviate. You try, you will tell me in your free time. But the short form of that act, you will see. Okay, so get it, okay? Because things that make us fast followers, things you don't even think of. Someone was asked the names of the director in order. Bamubuza question yasoka musibo najigwa eyokubiri, even the 3rd question. And then Councillor Mwanje was like, I'm giving you an opportunity. I'm giving you 30 marks. I'm a parent. I know how much you part LBC. I was here. Because this person, yali muntu mukulu mukwe, na mugamba, give me the names of the director in order. You may be knowing them. But the way the guy arranges his names is the other way around. Okay? The way he writes his names, Frank, Miguel, Othembi. This person started with Othembi, Miguel, Frank. Wazir. Everything was so things that make us pass the backwards. It's like, okay? So let's proceed. Okay? So when you look at first and foremost, think let us do this at the same time. Okay, when you look at your workshop, let's go to part A. We are choosing methods, but before you choose the method, I want us to put the factors into consideration using our workshop. Okay, because LDC we do applicability of the law, not applicability of facts. Okay, so let's get our facts of workshop 2. Okay, when you read your facts, they've given you an note that it says the Ministry of Why do you think, first and foremost, what is that? Is a procurement entity. Proceed. Wishes to undertake various procurements. So that means a procurement entity intends to do procurement. Now ask yourself, what does it intend to procure? Are they services, works, or supplies? Proceed with the question. It's going to give you the answer.
The process of pre-qualification provided with the attached Annex A.
So you go to Annex A. It is going to show you what these guys are intending. Remember, one of the factors we consider in choosing the appropriate method of procurement, what you're going to procure. Okay, now let's go. The annex is telling us one category A, we have works, supplies, and services. When you look at your compendium, does it have the act known as Rules and Methods of Procurement for works and statistics. So that means for you to choose the appropriate method of procurement, the reason was supposed to be what you intended to procure, not money. That's why this advert has no amount of money. Are we together? So now we want to know, okay, what is the appropriate method of procurement? So let us first go through them, all of them. Then later we are going to choose the most appropriate, which has one required. Not so. Let's go. Okay. So now let's go back to the very section that provides for those methods. Okay. Just what we are reading on one section. Okay. Let's read section 79 only. Okay. It provides for the different methods. Okay. The first method under that section is yes, the public procurement and this code of public assets act. Okay.
It's open domestic.
Open domestic. Okay. 79.
80 is open.
Yes. Okay. So you have a right to choose. Okay. Section 79 gives you a right to choose. Okay. Any choice of method. Okay. So the first mode is under section 80. What is that? Open domestic bidding. You're going to tell you yourself. Let's read.
Subsection 1.
Yes.
Except as provided for in this act or regulations made under this act, a procuring and disposing entity shall use the open domestic bidding method. Open domestic bidding is a procurement method which is open to participation on equal terms by all providers through advertisement of the procurement opportunity.
Okay, so it is available. So now, ask yourself, is there any indicator in your workshop that is supposed to use open domestic or is supposed to rely on domestic means? Okay, are we together? Okay, let's read another domestic. So let domestic bidding, we come back to your workshop. You tell whether the workshop was calling for domestic means or international means. Okay. Then the second one is okay. Let's go to 82. 82 restricted domestic.
Section 82. Restricted domestic bidding is the procurement method where bids are obtained by direct invitation without open advertisement.
So now, regardless of the fact that one of the principles of procurement, okay, is maximum competition. How do we forego that principle and we remain in the same principle? Okay, what that means, when you look at your workshop, it talks about what we call pre-qualification. Okay, once you do pre-qualification, you get the list of people who should provide for that entity only. Okay, if you say that you want only domestic companies, okay, that's what government does. So for us out here, we make noise that they gave the contract to Amponi. Okay, so the government has a list of pre-qualified bidders. Okay, so when you come to your workshop, they have told you, okay, the workshop is very clear. They have proceeded with pre-qualification. What does that mean? These guys already, they have a list of domestic companies. Are you together? If I've left you behind, I can repeat. Because I'm discussing these steps as well as making you understand the workshop. If I've left you behind, I repeat. Are we together? We've said we are looking at methods of procurement. The first category we are looking at domestic methods, and they are two. The first one is restricted domestic bidding, and then the second one, open domestic bidding. For open, they don't consider, they just invite the entire public by way of an advert. Then open, restricted, we restrict ourselves to the list of pre-qualified persons so that we don't invite the entire public. Okay, so now when you come back to workshop, in your workshop, do we have a list of pre-qualified persons or not? Okay, are we together? Council Lydia, read for us task workshop part A. You will tell. Okay. Get a seat. Okay. There is some space here. Okay, just get a seat. Let's read the workshop. Okay, it says, let's listen. The Ministry of Internal Affairs and National Bureau for NGOs wishes to undertake various procurement. It has begun the process of pre-qualification providers. What does that indicate? That is the first indicator that the most appropriate was domestic restricted. You've heard from the definition. Okay, are we together? Now let's proceed. You're going to get another indicator. I told you backward facts will be seen when the answer is there, but you just forego the answer, no correction. We go on, and they have said that pre-qualification of providers, as per the annexure, due to keen work by the Inspectorate of Government and other government agencies in the fight against corruption, the National Bureau for NGOs does not want to get embroiled in any scandals and wishes to follow the process laid down under the law for procurement purposes to the latter. The emphasis will be put on buy Uganda, build Uganda. So what does that mean? They are restricting themselves on only domestic means of procurement. So why would you discuss international bidding? The question is restricting you there and then. But for you going to go ahead and discuss international bidding, the question has the answer. So members of task one, are we together now? Okay, so should we go to another method of procurement? We are going through the entire workshop as well as learning. Are we together?
Yes.
Okay, so council, let's proceed. So now we are going to another category of method known as the international method. The first one under the international bidding methods is under which law?
Section 81.
Section 81, which says
Open international bidding.
open international bidding.
Open international bidding is the procurement method which is open to participation on equal terms by all providers through advertisement of the procurement opportunity and which specifically seeks to attract foreign providers.
Okay, you see, it says and seeks specifically to attract foreign providers. Okay, so what does that mean? International restricted, you Ugandans, okay, you don't qualify. Okay, you don't qualify. Okay, because it seeks to bring in international companies. So you consider yourself an international company, you can. You try your luck. Then another category.
Section 83, restricted international bidding.
Okay.
Restricted international bidding is the procurement procedure where bids are obtained by direct invitation without open advertisement, and the invited bidders include foreign
Okay, so here they just invite, they just invite. They don't go for the entire public. Yesterday we gave an example of a company that does construction of the highway, so they use that method. Okay, same as the express, Grant West style. Okay, they restricted themselves to that company for reasons we know better. Okay, because it is in the best interest of our country. Okay, are we together? So now, again, when you go further on task one, there is where they ask that task one, there is where they ask that suppose part three, what method would be the best suitable method for procurement under category 2 supplies in the event there was no boo provider pre-qualified for the supply after the pre-qualification process. What does that mean? Okay, if none of them qualified, what option is available? Okay, we can now open. Okay, we can either open bid international open bidding, because here they've told you that in case Bob also in that list that they had of the pre-qualified persons, none of the Ugandan companies, so we can open it, because even if when you look at here the open bidding methods, they invite both local and international clients. So you go for now open. So that means the most appropriate was a restricted method. Okay, then the other option was the open bidding. Are we together? Okay, then let's go to yes, Cancer.
International bidding by invitation.
And what is, how is the other one?
Restricted
The open international bidding. How is it?
by advertisement. Yes. Okay. Please note, open biddings are by advertisement. Okay. Then restricted bidding methods are by invitation. We already have persons who are pre-qualified. Okay. So we just tell him to bring your application. Like when I'm not saying that this happens. I know there is a job somewhere. I know she qualifies. I just say, Ajets, only one. Bring your document. I applied in this company sometime back. Maybe I say, inshallah, next time we shall consider it. Once an opportunity is out,
Members, I think we've lost Council. Can you hear him?
No, we are not getting him.
Okay.
okay. So are we together? So let's go on. Let's go to our fifth method. Fourth. No, fifth. Domestic, there were 2. International, they've been to, those are 4. So we're going to the fifth one. Let's go to the quotation method. Okay. So quotation method is at code 84. Now, when you look at section 84, quotation method, okay, also operates according to price. In your workshop, okay, in your workshop, these guys, they issued this notice, okay? They issued a notice, okay, here on what they wanted. So what happens in quotation, they say our intended project is of 5 billion, okay? So whoever is interested should apply with his or her quotation. So you should make sure your quotation of the building does not exceed the quotation price. So what happens in public entities? This is the example I gave yesterday. Once she puts in her bid, okay, me who wants to win, I'm always the last. Okay, why? I want to see how much have these guys indicated in their quotation. Remember, one of the factors we consider is price. Okay, even you, why do you bargain? Okay, you want something good but at a low price. Why? Quotation method. You came with your budget from home, so you say, let me bargain. Okay, so how this applies in procurement? If the budget of constructing her house, okay, is 5 billion, so all the construction companies should submit their bids to her, stating how much they are intending to use for the entire project. So she will sit and do what we call opening of bids and look at the quotation. Rashid is saying can construct this house at around 450 million. You look at the material he's intending to use. Then you say Brenda is intending to construct this house at 250 million shillings. Look at the price. Then Vincent is saying for him is using 650 million shillings. Then you start asking yourself, Kubano, Animubi. You disqualify Vincent because of his quotation is extremely high. Then you say now, Brenda is saying 250. Rashid is saying 450. However much Brenda is cheap, but look at the type of sand she intends to use. So you disqualify her for being at a too low, too cheap. Okay, so you should be in between. That's why we wait all other people to put in their quotations, then you make a call. You, my friend, tell me how much is there so that I bring mine. Okay, so this person, I'm not saying it's done. So your colleague may open all the bids and after seal them, but they will be able to see how much. So for you bring a quotation slightly below, but with the exact material, because you've seen how much money is there. So when they open, they say, oh, this one is relatively cheap. Umbe, you got to know through the window. So that's the quotation method. Nothing much is on it. Okay. And I think when you look at your workshop, there is somewhere the quotation method was applied. When you're representing this person who was claiming that was slightly below what and what. Eh? Yes. Okay. Then let's go to the sixth method. Direct procurement. Okay. It's under section 85. So let's first read 85.
Direct procurement is a sole source procurement method for procurement requirements where exceptional circumstances prevent the use of competition.
So you underline the word exceptional circumstances. When you are looking at exceptional circumstances, one of the examples of exceptional circumstances is emergency situations. So where it is an emergency situation, you don't even look at any other method because it falls under the exceptions, okay, that the circumstances surrounding do not allow you to go through the procurement cycle in its entirety. You can't advertise, okay? We had the COVID here. People were dying. People were saying, no, they have bought this type of drug, what and what, why couldn't they wait? And our Ugandans died because we are advertising. Once COVID came, no wasting time. Bwe yaggwako ne tugenda like that because the aim was to save life. Okay, so we couldn't go through the time of advertising. Same applies to Amponyi. People were dying of hunger in their houses, so he wanted us to advertise. Yet Amponyi had beans and posho. Okay, they could supply as quick as possible. Okay, then the last method of procurement is micro. Okay, it's under section 86, micro procurement. Okay, so under what circumstances do we use micro? Yes, Council. Let's read 87, 86.
Micro procurement is a procurement method which shall be used for very low value procurement requirements.
Okay, very low. So where the price is low. Now, to be honest, you want to advertise a procurement of 100,000. Okay, these cleaners, you see them, they will parade them there. Sorry, okay, they parade them there. Then they tell you, Council, look through the window. Those guys they've been cleaning since morning, but the products they are using are done. Okay, they have informed Mr. Wambuga, since the director is absent, that they need things of this much. They give you like 200,000. Okay, remember, whatever thing we buy in a procurement entity should be under the procurement cycle. But the guys are sitting, that means they have to resume work and complete on time. So are we going to advertise for things of only 200K, to be honest? Okay, so as a result of that, don't waste time. It is micro, just proceed, go and buy. Ojja kuwoza. Okay, simple as that. Okay, are we together? So now the presumption is, okay, what's missing? Yes, we are still, I've been explaining micro, that under micro procurement, okay, this happens in circumstances where the price is extremely low. Okay, and I gave an example because whatever I think is the question in orals at this time, they will put those cleaners outside there. They tell you those guys have been cleaning, but they have informed the director, who is currently the prince, that they are out of the soap and the scrubbing brush. So they want a maximum of 200,000 to procure what? Remember, this is a public entity. It does procurement. So are they going to follow the entire cycle they advertise? Running an advert in New Vision, the minimum it costs is 140. Okay, now imagine that one, after advertising, the advert has to run for how many days? 10 days. So you ask yourself, to be honest, when they are still sitting there on only 200,000, so the circumstances surrounding, they fall under section 86. It is micro. The amount to spend on that procurement is so low, so we don't need to incur all other costs. So you just go and buy. Okay, simple as that. Okay, any question on methods of procurement? But what you should note, that when you are reading these methods, you should read the act in line with the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Rules and Methods of Procurement of Works and Services. Okay, because those regulations, they explain further the circumstances under which we shall use open bidding, restricted, okay, micro. So the rules explain further, which is not explained under the act. Are we together then? So now the presumption is, we as the procurement entity, we have agreed to the most appropriate method. Okay, which unit is that? The procurement and disposal unit. Okay, then after these guys have agreed, they don't confirm. There is another unit that confirms the method. These guys, they just choose. that according to the way we see things, this is the most appropriate. Now they will forward to another unit. So that means we are looking at our fourth component of a procurement entity, which is known as the contracts committee.
Councillor Rashid.
Yes.
Me, Councillor Rashid.
Yes.
I have a question.
Maybe let's also put this into consideration. Currently, you have to read section 86 capital A of the amendment. Yeah? Because of COVID, they introduced the Electronic Transactions Act. Okay, so some of these bids will go through online mechanism as per the amendment. Okay, please note that section 86 capital A. Okay, it is an insertion of the amendment. Okay, so at times it is also looked at as a method, but okay, yes, okay, so you note that as well. Okay,
Councillor
yes,
Rashid.
you have a question?
Councillor Rashid. Yes, I have
Yes.
a question. I am seeking for clarity. When you look at Regulation 18,
Okay.
Regulation 18 of the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Rules and Methods of Procurement of Supplies, Works, and Non-Consultant Services.
Yes.
Provides that it provides for pre-qualification. Is it
Council,
the
we are
same
going-
pre-qualification talking about?
Okay, now.
Because in your explanation, Council, in your explanation, you said that a pre-qualification is mostly up
Qualification, we are going to get at that stage.
Council.
Okay, so we are going to get there, Judith, and we shall answer that. Okay, so we said we presume we as the unit, okay, of procurement and disposal, we've suggested the most appropriate. So after suggesting, we forward our proposal to a new unit known as the contracts committee. So let's go to the contracts committee. Does section 3 define the contracts committee? So let's read section 3, definition of a contracts committee.
Contracts committee is the committee provided for under part 3 of this.
So you go to part 3 and you see how, now what you should note, the contracts committee is temporary to avoid corruption because it confirms and sends the accounting officer for advertising. So that means you can easily corrupt the contracts committee. So that's why it is temporary, it is not permanent. They just choose. Okay, so let's go. Okay. Okay. So when you look at okay, section 27. Okay, section 27. It says composition of the contracts committee. Okay, subject to subsection 2. The contracts committee shall be composed of members in the third schedule. When you go to the third, the reason why they are saying composition, they just select members from certain units. Temporarily, they compose that unit, it confirms the method, and then we go on. After procurement, that is dissolved there and then. Okay, so when you look at the third schedule, it says composition of the contracts committee. The contracts committee shall be composed of the following: the chairperson, the secretary, and a maximum of 3 members appointed by the accounting officer. Okay, so why? We don't have a specific committee that this one will stay. Okay, okay, so since this committee deals with money a lot, it is temporary. So after appreciating that it is temporary, ask yourself, what are the functions of the contracts committee? So when you look at this, okay, you go to BB, okay? BB, section 28, subsection 1A and double B. Okay, I'm so interested in those, okay? Because we want to see the next step in the cycle now, okay? The first one was choosing. Now, when you look at section 28, it says a contract committee shall be responsible for adjudication of recommendations from the procurement and disposal unit, okay? So which proposals are those? They have proposed the method. So after these guys have sent to the contracts committee, it is going to look through their proposal to see whether the method these guys are proposing is okay. Okay. Then after that, when you look at double B, ensuring that before it is approved, the procurement is in accordance with the procurement plan. So what step is that? Approval of the procurement method by the contracts committee. Are we together? Okay. So now the contracts committee has approved the method of procurement. So we want to start. Okay. So, but before we start, okay, okay, we have to advertise, okay? We have to advertise. So that means the next step after, okay, after approval is advertisement of bids, okay? Advertisement of bids. Who does the advertising? The accounting officer, the contracts committee?
Accounting.
It's the accounting officer. Go to section 26 and see. Okay. Are we together? Or I go a little bit. Okay. We've said after, okay, we have confirmation, okay, or approval of the method of procurement. Okay. After the method of procurement has been approved by the contracts committee, as we've seen, okay, then they have to advertise. So that means the second step after approval is advertisement of bids, okay? And you've said the advert is run by the accounting officer as per section 26, okay? You see, advertising bid opportunities, section 26, okay? So now, the presumption is the advert has been run, okay? And the potential bidders, okay, have seen the advert, okay? The potential bidders have seen the advert. So what will they do? Obtaining standard forms of procurement. So the next step is obtaining standard forms of procurement. So now the bidders, they will come, they pick these standard forms, okay, from the procurement entity. But these forms are issued by the authority. If you remember where we started from in section 5, okay, I told you to underline that bit yesterday because of that, okay. So after the bidders have obtained the standard bidding documents, okay, now it is the next step will be submission and receiving of bids. But the question is, which unit does receiving of bids? Okay, submission and receiving of bids. The bidders will submit, the procurement entity will receive, okay? So now that's where we are. They have submitted and we have received, okay? Excuse me. Okay, so proceed. So we have submitted and we have received bids. What do you think will be the next step after receiving bids? Okay, Okay, after we've received the bids, okay, the contracts committee will do the receiving of the bids but take out. Okay, so the next step will be opening and evaluation. Okay, but mark this, when you are dealing with the contracts committee, okay, when you are dealing with the contracts committee, reference every activity done under the contracts committee is regulated by the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Contracts Committee regulations. So when you want to understand everything under the contracts committee, you refer to the rules that govern the contracts committee. Okay, it's the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Contracts Committee regulations. Okay, we shall get there when I will show you, don't worry. We are there. Okay, okay. Okay, so now the contracts committee has received the bids. Okay, so now the next step is what we call opening and evaluation. So this process is done by a unit known as the evaluations committee. So that takes us to our next component of the procurement entity, known as the evaluations committee. Does section 3 define the evaluations committee? Yes. Okay, not all of yes. Whatever we've done under the contracts committee is under the contracts committee rules. Then after we've gone to the then after we've gone to evaluation. So whatever is under evaluation is under the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Evaluation Committee rules. Okay. Hola. So now, when we are okay, we've said what the unit we are looking at now is the evaluations. What is done in the evaluations committee? It does a number of things. The first thing is opening and evaluation. Okay, that's what they do first. Okay, but during evaluation, the reason why they do evaluation is to come up with a list of what we call pre-qualified stroke best evaluated bidders. So it depends. If the entity wishes to do pre-qualification, okay, why do we do pre-qualification? If the entity is going to choose any of the following methods, we do pre-qualification. Okay, you look at the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets rules and methods. Okay, you look at Regulation 18. Okay, it talks about the use of pre-qualification. So some methods you don't go for pre-qualification. Some methods you go for pre-qualification. Okay, listen, are you together? Okay. Yes, that's where I'm going. Okay, but as per your workshop, pre-qualification has already taken place. But for purposes of appreciating, you should know that if the facts don't call for pre-qualification, you don't go for it. You just go for best evaluated bidder. Okay, but we have circumstances where the method approved calls for pre-qualification. Okay, so let's look at Regulation 18 of the rules and methods of procurement regulations. Okay, you're going to see why that regulation is there. Those doing task 1, okay, it is your time to shine. Okay, yes. Okay, use of pre. So when you look at Regulation 18, it tells you that under these methods, you should use pre-qualification. If the method is not under those mentioned, don't go for pre-qualification. Okay, So let's read 18. It says, just use subject to.
Subject to subsection 3.
Yes.
A procuring and disposing entity may use pre-qualification under open domestic or open international bidding.
You see, only. So if the method approved is open domestic or open international bidding, you go for pre-qualification. But where that is not the method you've used, you don't go for that process. You just jump it and go for the notice of the best evaluated bidder. Okay. We are reading the rules and methods. Rules and methods. Okay. Look at number 6. You got regulation 18. So when you're reading your facts, I've told you, right from the start, the facts will always have an indicator of the most appropriate method. Okay. The framers of this workshop, they knew that the answer is open domestic bidding, and they gave you pre-qualification. They knew, but I always tell you, what we're gonna call a IF Friday. Ngerimu answer. Why answer gano gira? Okay, I assure you of that. All papers that tell this, they have the answer within, but it takes that extra person to concentrate and see the answer. The workshop had the answer, but you saw what you discussed on Saturday. You just passing on the answer like this and go. Okay, so guys, have we seen the law? So when you read that regulation we are talking about, it is very clear that pre-qualification is only used in open domestic or open international bidding. So if that is not the method, we don't go for pre-qualification. Okay, so we presume that we are not going for that method. Okay, yes. Okay, go to section 3, the interpretation section. Okay, pre-qualification. This is the process through which the procurement entity goes through to identify potential bidders. Not everyone can bid in certain circumstances. Okay, we have things we don't call for everyone. We need cream. Okay, that's why we do that pre-qualification. Why? One, when they're doing pre-qualification, the things they consider. Remember, when we are advertising these bids, we put requirements. Not those requirements only. You are going to deal with the government entity. Those who have ever done bidding, the first document you attach a trade license, show us that you're paying that. So you're going to and the government told you. Okay, that's why they are introducing everything. Okay, so once we do that, okay, and you don't have a tax clearance, you don't qualify to deal with government. Automatically, we disqualify you. We go with people who support the government. We are looking for money, so you don't qualify. So Hope Castle, it's home now. We proceed. So we presume that we are not going for pre-qualification. So if we are not going for pre-qualification, what takes place? It is evaluation. If you want to understand rules as the public procurement and disposal of public assets evaluation rules. When you read those rules, they have what we call evaluation criteria. Okay? Evaluation criteria. The things you follow, you as the person under the evaluations committee. So when the evaluations committee is carrying on its evaluation, it should put all the principles of procurement into consideration. You shouldn't disqualify someone on grounds of, okay, discrimination, fairness. So all those things we looked at under section 43, they should be into your mind. Okay. So after that, the evaluations committee writes what we call the evaluation reports. Okay. This evaluation report, after evaluation, the evaluation report is sent to the contracts committee for approval. Okay. So that means after evaluation, the next step is making the evaluations report, showing what has transpired from the evaluation, that this and this, they can't qualify due to the following reasons. Okay. Why? You give the reasons why they have not qualified, then you forward to the contracts committee. For what purpose? Approval and publication. Okay. So that means the next step after sending the evaluations report to the contracts committee is approval of the evaluations report and issuance of the issuance of, we have a notice. It is in your workshop. Which notice is that? The notice of the best evaluated bidder. So ask yourself, so Katuliao, we've issued a notice of the best evaluated. So the evaluations committee is done with the evaluation. Okay. It has made a report. It has sent the report to the contracts committee. Upon perusal, okay, let's open the contracts committee regulations. We go to regulation 4. Okay, let's open the contracts committee regulations. We go to regulation 4. You see the entire procurement. In our year, we did question number 2, but it was on that regulation we are going to see. If you got that regulation, you could get 25 out of 25 from the exam. But I saw people opening that act cover to cover. I was in the library. My neighbor was Honorable Seun. Honorable collaborate. 4 cameras looking at you like this. You colleagues, in a chance to come library, look at you. I'm telling you. Library, look at you. Security, okay, those librarians, over they take coffee that day and they have a kettle in there. They just go out. One goes out, they bring chapatis and donuts. They eat while looking at you like this. I was just at the forefront with Honorable. Then go on side of regulation use. Until I just went out for a short call, and a few people followed me and just got the contracts committee rules. You look at regulation 4. Once you get that regulation, you're going to see that everything is going to be flowing because the answers were in order like this. Imagine. Okay. So when the contracts committee receives the report from the evaluations committee, okay, what do they do? Cancel regulation 4. It says notice of best evaluated bidder. So now that means the evaluations committee has evaluated that among all the bidders, okay, this entity has merged the best. So we have to advertise and notify the public. Let's go.
A procuring and disposing entity shall, within 5 working days after the decision of the contracts committee to award a contract, deliver a copy of the notice of the best evaluated bidder to all bidders who participated in the bidding process.
Now, you remember that under the principles, we have the principle of transparency. Okay, that's why all bidders are given that notice. We indicate reasons why you didn't qualify, so that your heart is at home that, okay, because I don't belong to the national resistance movement. Okay, because the bidding was in Kamocha, I couldn't qualify. Okay, because I am a strong supporter of the NRM. If your heart is okay, just relax. Okay, so now you have a task which talks about the notice. Okay, I think it is it part C or D, where you are representing someone who is complaining. Okay, D. Now, your facts should be read in hand with this regulation. The notice they are talking about should comply with the regulation 4 and 5 of the contracts committee rules. Okay, so if you read that notice, okay, when it doesn't include all the bidders, that notice is wrong. Okay, if you read that notice when it doesn't include the reasons for disqualification, that notice is wrong. If you read when you look at Council Regulation 5, that notice should be advertised for a period of 10 working days. So if the notice says it shall be removed on this date, you count the days. If they are less than 10, that notice is null and so Council Street 5, Regulation 5 as well. Okay.
Period during which no further action may be taken.
Okay.
A procuring and disposing entity shall not take any action on the contract award until the lapse of 10 days after the date of display of the notice of the best evaluated bidder.
You see, the notice should take 10 days. You have a notice in your workshop. Go and read it. You see whether it matches with Regulation 4 and 5. Okay. So now they are saying that that notice has a lifespan of 10 days. So when the 10 days expire like this, okay, what next? Okay, we shall proceed. Why? That notice, the notice is not conclusive evidence of award of a contract. Okay, they can ask you what is the rationale of advertising. Okay, once the advert has been run, you have 10 working days to go for administrative review. That's the complaint to the accounting officer. Now go back in your facts. You count, look at the notice. Okay, you will rush and discuss administrative review. You draft all your documents when you are out of time. Okay, first go, okay, and count, okay, the days. Have the 10 days expired or not? If they have not yet expired, why do you go for administrative review? The notice is still running. So once the days expire, you have two options. You, the person who is aggrieved, the remedy you have is to go for administrative. If no complaint is raised, then we shall go to our next step known as signing stock award of contract. Again. Saika ono we koma. Okay? Yes. We are going to take that part. But that's why I'm giving you the two options. That when you are reading your facts, first ask yourself, am I at the time when I'm supposed to go for administrative review or not? Because administrative review acts as an injunction to signing of the contract. Are we together? But so if no administrative review is taken, when those who are not qualifying, they are contented that the reasons under the notice for their disqualifications are okay, the procurement entity shall proceed and talk to the accounting officer, and now we sign the contract. Okay? Yes, sir. Okay? After 10 working days, you, the person who has not qualified, you can lodge your complaint. Okay? If you don't lodge, we shall proceed and give. Once the award has been given, once we sign the contract like this, you cease to have a right. Okay, so that means you should be having the notice like this, counting the days. The day they expire like this, you lodge the notice. Once you miss a step and the award is signed like this, you cease to have a right to go for administrative review. Because now, let us be honest, what do you want to review? Okay, because review is an injunction to maintain which status quo. To maintain which status quo. This person has been given. Once we give you the contract, we just appoint the last committee. Which committee is that? No, the last one, which does the supervision and everything. The very last committee. It does supervision, maintenance, and everything. Yes? The management committee, it's the last one, because it has to manage the entire contract. Okay? So, for you want to maintain with status quo, after signing the contract, you cease to have the right to appeal over with you. So the way to go, lodge your complaint before the award of the contract. Okay? That's why these notices are, they want you to interpret those notices. Okay, let me first get the question. Yes?
Right between the 10 days elapsed.
There is no time. Your diligence, you as the person is complaining. Okay, you can take within Castola notice or immediately after. Yes. Okay, you just go to regulation 4 and regulation.
Committee submit the contract publication.
Yes.
What happened?
Then we publish the notice of the best evaluated bidder under regulation of the contracts committee. Okay. It is either within or immediately after, before. Okay. Members, what you should note, the key word is a complaint should be brought before signing of the contract. Okay. Before a complaint should be raised before the contract is signed, because it has to maintain the status quo that no one should take the contract. Exactly. Yes, hold on. Okay. Because you see what happens in government entities. Now, they always give people they know. Okay. So what they do, once you relax like this, on the 10th day, because this guy is count time, they always advertise at around 10 a.m. So when it clocks 10 like this, they sign the contract and you cease to have the. So what is appropriate? We say upon issuance of the notice of the best evaluated bidder and before signing of the contract. The day you get to know that the notice has been issued, no what, you read the reasons and you see that the reasons these guys are giving are not genuine reasons. Complain. Because once you relax, they will sign that contract and you will curse everyone around. Okay? Yes, Council? Yes. Okay? But in practice, people want money.
Council Rashid.
Okay.
Council.
Yes, let us take a question. So let's be a bit swift. We are remaining with. Okay. We still have other. We are going to do administrative review when you are looking at.
After you have seen the notice and before they conclude the contract.
Yes, that is the prudence. Yes.
We are saying that we need to first count the 10 days.
Okay.
They get done.
When they give you the notice in an exam, that's the diligence you need. Okay. First, look at the notice and all its contents. You appreciate, because I pray get the paper. We shall do that very paper. Okay, we shall get a work, the eye of sale of goods and that paper of procurement. You will see. We had, it wasn't even a problem question. They just gave us a notice of the best evaluated bidder. They said, question 1, trace the law where the notice emanates from. Simple. Question 2, comment on the timelines of the notice. Question 3, what remedies are available to the aggrieved party? That's how the paper was. But getting there was the problem. The notice itself was a mess. It didn't comply to section 4 and 5. So what that means, you have to be knowing the entire cycle and how the law moves. You start from this act, you go to the regulations, you come to this now, okay? My question is at the evaluation stage. Which regulations are key players at this stage? That the contracts committee regulations and the evaluations, you read only those two and pass the exam instead of looking at the entire. That's how the question was simple but hard. So most of the colleagues we are looking at in the act, yet the answer was in only regulation 4 and 5, and you survive and you get 25 on that question. I swear I wrote only that it had a complaint, okay? But I swear my answers were in one page. I was down. Gandava, people have not yet started writing, but I'm done. I have one page. I've answered everything. That I did, my answers for that question were only 3 pages because I drafted a letter requesting for the record of proceedings and then the complaint to the accounting office. And I was like, am I right? As the coverage I have is, you look at your neighbors asking for another booklet. The young gun you took our casting. That was the challenge, okay? But once you get to know where the law is, life becomes simple, okay? So now, we presume that no complaint has been raised, okay? If there is no complaint raised, upon expiration of the 10 days, the next step in the procurement cycle is award of contracts. Okay, award of contract. Now just go to section 26, award of the contract by the accounting officer. So after awarding the contract, the cycle is done. So that means the last step will be appointment of the management committee to manage the procurement. Award, section 26, functions of the accounting officer. Okay, so after the accounting officer has awarded the contract, then we shall appoint the management committee. Any question on the cycle, the components, and the methods? So now, let's go through the next things chap. I interpret this chart that you guys are having that has people sitting, one is looking at the computer, pointing there and there. Now you'll be able to tell what is in that chart after. Okay, so now, are we all together at that point? Okay, just to ensure supervision of the procurement. Okay, so now, are you together now? So now,
Council, I had a question.
yes.
Council, can the whole process be nullified in circumstances because you've said that for you to lodge a complaint, you have 10 days.
Yes.
But what happens when it's done prematurely? For example, maybe they release the notes today, then they sign they give the award within 2 days, even before the expiration of 10 days. So can that
automatically
process be nullified?
that contract is null and void. So the entire process is nullified. Okay, that was the problem in our paper. In our paper, the notice was running for 6 days. So it was a ground of appeal. Okay, so now we are looking at stakeholders still. Okay, stakeholders. So far we've looked at 2 stakeholders. The first one was the authority. The second one was the procurement entities. Okay. Now the third one is the tribunal. Is the tribunal. Okay. Let's go. Which law establishes the tribunal? Section 3 doesn't define a tribunal. Okay. Section 3 doesn't define the tribunal, but it is somewhere. Okay. The tribunal. Okay. The procurement tribunal. Yes, Council. Just the section we read only. Okay. Section 26. Okay. Only. Okay. It is temporary for reasons of corruption. Okay. So let's go to 91 capital B. So those with inherited acts that don't have the amendment, I assure you this, you can't do administrative review. Okay. You can't do administrative. If not, the administrative review you're going to do is wrong. Why? In the amendment, okay, the authority was scrapped out in the process of administrative review. It starts from accounting officer, tribunal, and high court. Okay, are we together? So let's first look at the tribunal. We are going to look at administrative review. Don't worry. Okay. Yes. Yeah, it is just a committee that manages the person who has been given the contract to supervise. Okay, value for money. They have to be there. Centers of responsibility. Remember what we call the COVID task teams. They were management committees. Okay. Why come up, okay, so let's go. Okay, so tribunal. Okay, section 91 capital B. Yes.
Public procurement and disposal of public assets appeals tribunal.
Yes.
There is established the public procurement and disposal of public assets appeals tribunal, which shall consist of a chairperson and 4 other members appointed in accordance to this part.
Proceed with subsection 2.
A person to be appointed chairperson of the tribunal shall be a person qualified to be a judge of the High Court.
Okay, so that means the reason why the chairperson of a tribunal is at the level of the judge of the High Court, because we did administrative review. Okay, administrative review is done by what we call a quasi-judicial body. Okay, so by virtue of that, a tribunal is a quasi-judicial body, and besides that, it deals with public funds. So in considering such factors, the person to head that institution should be a judge of the High Court. Okay, so now what are the functions of this tribunal? Why is it that it is considered to be a key player in procurement? Functions of the tribunal. Okay. 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 So the ultimate function of powers, okay, are to the effect that a tribunal has the mandate to review decisions from the accounting officer. Initially, it was supposed to review decisions from the authority, but the authority was scrapped out. So from the accounting officer, you go direct to the tribunal. So the ultimate duty of the tribunal is to review decisions of the accounting officer. Okay? So it is in the amendment. Don't read the old law. The old law says review of decisions from the authorities. So go to the amendment. Okay? It says review. The amendment, it is under 91I. Okay? 91I in the amendment. The tribunal has to review, okay, decisions from the accounting officer. Simple as that. Okay? Then the last stakeholder in procurement is known as courts. Okay? Is known as courts. Okay? Yes. Okay. It was amended. Okay. Currently, the authority doesn't apply. Right? It is the accounting officer. Okay.
91M.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Look at section 38 of the amendment. Okay. That amendment is recent. I think it's an amendment of 2020, 2021. So the challenge is you are using, by the time that act was amended, you guys are using Emma's notes, not so. By the time the act was amended, that workshop was done. You get it? Okay. The time the act was amended, because it was amended like 1 month after the procurement class, and the act came out. So they had to review their work. But unfortunately, the work you have is not reviewed. Okay. Have you seen it? Okay. Replacement of section 91I. Okay. Have you seen it? When you go to the amendment, it has 91I as well, but it was replaced. It is a replacement. So when you read this, okay, administrative review by the tribunal, the following may apply to the tribunal for review, okay, of a decision, okay, from the entity. So you apply from the decision of the accounting officer. Okay, are we together? Okay, so now, yes, section 38 of the amendment. Yes, it is the replace. It replaced 91I of the Principal Act. That is procurement. It is the simplest question, but the hardest as well, because of the so many laws to read. Okay, so now the last stakeholder is the High Court, not courts of judicature, but the High Court. It is provided under which law? Section 91M. Okay, section 91M. Now we have a contention. Okay, it has not yet been solved. Let's wait. When you read 91M, it says that appeals to the High Court from decisions of the tribunal. Okay, but we as people who appreciated civil procedure, okay, I argue, and I keep on saying that it is not by way of an appeal, it is by way of judicial review. So because the section talks about appeal, the PS have not yet harmonized. Okay, But now let us be honest, okay? Which law are you going to use to govern that appeal? The Magistrate Courts Act. Yet when you look at the law, okay, the chairperson of the tribunal is the judge of the High Court. Yet here they are saying that, okay, appeal to the High. So what does that mean? Me, I strongly say it is judicial review, but not appeal. Okay? But some PAs are saying you go by the wording of the Act. But whatever we are studying is civil procedure, not criminal. They are governed by the civil procedure rules. So me, I still strongly say it is judicial review, but not an appeal. Okay? Are we together? Okay? When you look at section 91M, we've said that the last stakeholder is the High Court. So we want to know what is the duty of this stakeholder. When you read 91M, it says that appeals to the High Court from decisions of the tribunal. So what does that mean? That the High Court reviews decisions of the tribunal. But the section uses the word appeal. So the only thing we need to harmonize on, is it an appeal or judicial review? So you'll pose that question to your PAs. You will see the answers they will give you. You are also lawyers with an independent mind. You can change the jurisprudence of Uganda as well. So I leave it to you. Me, I made a decision and I said I object to an appeal. Me, I went, don't take my position. Me, I read the law and I interpreted it in that way. Because you can't tell me that I go for an appeal to the High Court from the decision of the judge of the High Court when a tribunal is headed by a judge of the High, and you tell me I go by an appeal in the High Court. What we start balancing now? Yes? Okay? Yes.
90 days. The year state 30 days. So there's a debate in the actually in the statute is saying 30 days with the appeal. Our actual appeal, you can move court under within order 50. Okay? The CPR by loss of motion, as an appeal, the line also.
So those are all arguments of the law. Judicial body. So we shall see. But the chairperson of the Human Rights Commission. Okay, so yes. Yes. So I don't know. Yes. Yes. To present it, it is a body corporate. Okay. So we shall harmonize on that by the end of tomorrow. I'm very sure. Okay.
Something that was changed in the
Principal Act. So we shall harmonize, okay, on what exactly, okay? So now, any question? The only thing we've not looked at in procurement is administrative review, which I want to discuss independently in 15 minutes or even less. Okay? So that our modus operandi, then your colleagues. We first study in entirety and we make life simple. Okay? So, should we go for administrative review? We close it at once. Okay, so now let's go for administrative review. Okay. The reason why I left administrative review aside, it interlocks some procedure, and besides that, it is governed by independent regulations. So I couldn't risk the confusion. Okay, so now administrative review. Okay, administrative review is the process where the aggrieved party, okay, the aggrieved party proceeds and raises a complaint to different institutions that the law provides for. Okay, where an aggrieved party or one of the unsuccessful bidders, actually the most appropriate word would be the aggrieved unsuccessful bidder, because when that person is very sure that I don't qualify. Okay, yes, I'm telling you, we have people at the back course. Now this one saying, let me just go. Good enough, it's dad who sent me. You guys are hustling, you're reading that night. But that person is but I'm telling you, luck can hit that person. Luck can hit that person, and that person passes the backwards. I'm telling you, we have a colleague who gave up. The dad fell sick, the dad was admitted. So she said, mom died, so let me just go take care of dad. The dad used to just push her, I'll be fine, you go. Okay, but she managed to pass the eligibility, and the dad told her, go and sit for exams. She failed only one paper, and she was like, did I really make this? She was the first one to pay for the supplemental, but people who were here reading day and night, they were disqualified for failing more than 3. Others were disqualified on eligibility. But let me just go. That and make the guy sit for the exams. That's what she told me. And she just came. When she doesn't care, after the exam, she goes home, sleeps, comes back after one day. Because we jump one day, we do another exam. Just like that. She could post when she's out, but miracles happen, and she paid corporate and commercial on it. Imagine. So here, who believe in miracles, you happen. So pray, you never know. Okay, so let's go for administrative review. So now, what you should know, administrative review is a process. You can't jump a particular unit, you go to another. When you look at the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Act as amended in 2021, it provides for administrative review under which section? Under which section? 33. Okay, look at section 33 of the amendment. Section 33 of the amendment. So, the first jurisdictions, okay? The first jurisdiction, it is very clear. It is a complaint to the accounting officer as per section 31 or section 89 as amended. Okay? Okay, 33 or section 89 as amended. Okay? So that is the first step. Okay? However, before you write a complaint to the accounting officer, you need evidence. Okay? You need evidence on what transpired. Okay? How do you get that evidence? We have a section that says that an aggrieved bidder shall not take a complaint to the accounting officer without making an application for disclosure. Okay, which section is that? Okay, which section is, you need evidence. Why are you complaining? You are saying that the process of evaluation was done in a manner which is not appropriate. Where is that process? Do you have the proceedings? Okay, remember, the evaluation report is not given to anyone apart from the contracts, but you need that report, because that's why your argument is going to. How are you going to get that report? By writing a letter requesting for the record of evaluation. But which law provides for that? Which law provides for that? Hajat. Salaam alaikum. Yes. Which law provides for that letter? Section 20. Yes. Which law? Yes. Council Lydia. Which section? Which section? The Judicature Act. Aisha, which section? Which section? Which? Council, where is your act? It's not here. Which section provides for that? Look at section 91. Very well.
When an application for it is lodged.
Remember, 91 has, we have what and what. Okay, so just cite the exact one. Okay, which provides for that. Okay, so let's go to 91F and we see what is there. Yes, I'm saying we are looking at administrative review. Okay, so we've said that in the process of administrative review, you first write a complaint to the accounting officer as per section 91. Okay, but before you write that complaint, you should have evidence. But the evidence you need is the record of proceedings. And you've said which law gives you the power to make that application for the record of proceedings. And people are saying section 91. But section 91 has a number of sections. Okay, so now we want to know which exact section. Okay, let's read F and C. Does F provide for it?
Is the one where make an order affecting the decision of the review.
Yes.
The procurement shall request the bidder with a report indicating.
Okay, let's go. It is, if you are reading the amendment, is section 33 subsection 4. But if you are reading as a professor, you will say section 89 subsection 4 as amended. So let's read. When you have the, because for easy reference, look at section 33 of the amendment, you look at subsection 4. So let's read it.
The procuring and disposing entity against which a complaint is made shall on the request provide the bidder.
Then if you stop there, shall on. So how do you request? You write formally Okay, so that means you need section 89 subsection 4 as amended. Okay, so are we together? So that means after writing, okay, the application for disclosure, and they have given you, after giving you, you read through to ascertain whether the right procedure was followed. If you realize that it wasn't followed, then you write a complaint to the accounting officer. So now, we presume that now you have written the complaint to the accounting officer. Once you write the complaint, the accounting officer should determine that complaint within the shortest time as the law provides. We shall read. Okay, so after the accounting officer, yes?
So the application for disclosure and also the application for the
Both by ordinary letter. Okay, but the only difference is this application for administrative review, where there is a V, you put complaint in regards to this. Okay. So now we presume that the complaint has been raised to the accounting officer. Okay. Once the accounting officer makes a decision not in your favor, okay, or the accounting officer does not make a decision within the time specified under the act, what is the appropriate remedy you have? Then you go to another step known as a complaint to the tribunal, which we already know. Okay, so that means once you start with the tribunal, we shall raise a preliminary objection saying that, Your Honor, this matter is premature before court, because it is mandatory. The section uses the word, whenever it uses the word shall, you should first comply. When you read the case of Ozu Brothers versus Commissioner URA, those guys were arguing that the matter had to first go to the tax appeals tribunal. Okay, but when you read the tax tribunals act, it provides some matters that go under that. Okay, so unfortunately this matter didn't qualify, so they had raised an objection, counsel for URA, indicating that the matter was premature before, and then the reply to that was that on reading the law, the matters that go for the tribunal, this matter doesn't qualify. But because when you read this act, it is shall, so you can't go to the tribunal before you exhaust the internal means. Okay. That's saying that procurement is very easy than sale of goods. Okay, so now, okay, yes, okay. Why? Yes, why? You have a right to complain or not to complain. Okay, we always anger people with authority in this country. Okay, but they say, let's just leave that. They may punish or they may not. But if you decide to take the step, you should start with the accounting officer. Go and read the regulations, the administrative review regulations. You'll appreciate it. So now, if the accounting officer has not determined, we go to the tribunal. That one we already saw. Okay, if the tribunal doesn't determine in your favor and you are still agreeing, where do you go? The high court for you appeal to the high court. The laws we've already seen. What is said in procurement? Okay, procurement is the simplest. Okay, so now look at your timetable. Okay, make sure if you can fluke the class of Baninya, please do. Okay, I know she's so aggressive, she can abuse But if you have an opportunity of looking her class, okay, please do. She's good. She's the best in procurement, I tell this. Princess Baninya. Okay. Her own kingdom. Okay. So now that's what we had for procurement. Okay. It is procurement and company are one of the richest areas in Oros. Okay. Because 90%, because LDC is the procurement entity, expects questions from procurement. Okay. So now, after you've appreciated procurement, okay, everything you've bought, you have your belongings, not so? Why don't you dispose them off? Then you go for disposal. That has been procurement. The question is known as public procurement and disposal. So we've been doing procurement. So now, after you've procured and you've owned, okay, that means
Excuse me,
we have bought the desks and everything, but we have used them to cause so we can dispose them. So that's why I told you, you can't read procurement and disposal. First read procurement. You make sure you've appreciated the procurement. Then you go for, because disposal is easy. You just read one section and the regulations only. The section you read provides for the methods of disposal. Okay, we have a destruction, we have donation, we have transfer. Okay, so when you go to section 87, okay, I'm giving just something on disposal. Disposal, we don't need to read a lot. Okay, we don't need to read a lot. Okay, so after you've procured, now you move to a so you can dispose of. So disposal. First go to section 3. You appreciate what is disposal. Okay. The section defines, yes, Aisha, take us through what is disposal. Yeah. It is at D. It's around here. Disposal. So let's look at section 3. What is disposal? Divestiture. Okay. Disposal means
divestiture of public assets.
Are you guys sharing? Aisha, please amplify. Okay.
Disposal means the divestiture of public assets, including intellectual and proprietary franchise, auction, and any combinations. However, let's say
okay. So now, when you look at the definition, basically it means getting rid of the assets of a public entity. Okay. I told you, when you guys are going for orals, they will get out all these chairs. They keep on placing them around there. Okay. You see those that are up there, you think they can't take them anywhere. I think they are stupid. They want to dispose them off, but they will wait after orals. Okay. They will wait after orals because that is a question already set for orals. They will just tell you, cancel, come. They just make you stand there, say, look up. Have you seen what is there? You say, yes, come back. Advise the director. Okay. For you, when you see, do they make a good scenario in LDC? What does that imply? They should get out of, but how? That's what they will be asking. How? Okay. If not, there is a car that is parked there, some old car. Okay. It is only one. The reason why it is always there, it is a question in procurement. Always. They just tell you match out those who always use the auditorium as their panel. They tell you match out, look there. You look there, it's okay, I've seen the car, come back. You answer. So that means whatever is unnecessary in LDC should go for disposal. But what methods do we use for disposal? Okay, so let's just look at section 87. I'm just going to be explaining literally, okay, so that we understand, so that we don't want to get caught by the doctrine of lashes. Okay. The first mode is public auction. We all know what amounts to public, but mark this. If you want to understand the circumstances under which public auction is used, you first go to what we call the public procurement and disposal of public assets disposal regulations. Those regulations, they tell you that for you to use auction, public auction, the following factors should be considered. Okay. Yes, it is the public procurement and disposal of public assets disposal regulations. Okay. So, but for you to literally, okay, for you to use public auction, there should be at least a larger amount, okay, a larger amount of the assets to dispose of. Temuyinza kuba na mmotoka emu ne mukola public auction mubaako ekikyama. Okay, you wait for, you see police oba tebanaweza piki mitwalo ebiri tebakola public auction. Okay, nera kuba public auction ogenda okukolebwa. Okay, so you see, and then another ground that you base on from the rules, there should be a number of persons interested in taking that asset. Okay, so when you look at regulation 6, they say conditions for public auction. Public auction shall be used where there is a large number of potential bidders for the public assets. Then 2, it is number 11 on the act. Okay, you just look at regulation 6. It provides for the conditions I've been explaining. So they will give you facts. Don't just rush to say public auction. Okay, so you want to advertise public auction. Okay, LDC staff judiciary zikaddiwe abazagala gye bamatojaga ne bakuwa ya director. Okay, then another method is public bidding. Public bidding, we don't advertise. Okay, we already know the people we've been dealing with, so we just bring them. Okay, we just select. When you look at regulation 4, it says conditions for use of public bidding. The asset is located in a remote area. Okay, Ngawala, they just call the people within that area. They take. Now, if you look at the courts deep down there in Chisoro, where when those courts are selling, they just invite, okay, people within the local limits. Okay. Then another method, direct negotiations. How does this apply? Direct negotiations. Okay. It is, in most cases, it is only, yes. Another one, when you look at which regulation, okay, look at regulation 9, okay, yeah, which provides conditions for use of direct negotiations. Direct negotiations shall be used where national security, public interest. An example, don't you think that cars in the State House are sold? But have you ever heard of any auction? You know why? National security. In most cases, people within the army and in the State House, they're the only ones that buy those cars. They just give it to a common person. The Sigitu Sakala, Ikyalo balina okuntegeera. Know that command several. Ate gwe nze olina okummanya. So when that boy gets that green car, that boy, why? It will be a threat to national security. So under such circumstances, they directly negotiate. Mumulowooza tanka tezikaddiwa zetukozesa amagye. N'ennyonyi z'amagye zikaddiwa. Amma ne bagikuwe. Listen, they give you that tank, okay? But have you ever seen any advert? Okay, you just say Uganda and Congo, they are having talks on what? You just find that some things have taken that route. So we do direct negotiations. Then another method is sell to public officers. Why do they use this? Anyone who has ever worked for local government, it is used as a token of appreciation. Once they say that office of the month, office of the year, so kukuzaamu amaani bakuguza bibiki bino ebya local government ebinene ebitalina makulu. This motorcycle, we are selling it to, they give you at a lower price so that they make some money, but when they have also made you happy. Imagine a police officer at the rank of corporal, okay? Never muguza piki ya police kumitwalo ayinza okugoba ababbi nakufira nako, because now this person knows once you work you will be appreciated, okay? So he wants to upgrade from a motorcycle to a double cabin, okay? That's why we do selling to the public officers. Then another method, destruction of assets. Now, that destruction, it has conditions. One, okay, when you look at regulation 13, the first one, national security. We have National Drug Authority, okay? That entity does destruction. These guys, they always bring medicine and does expire. But have you ever seen them selling it out? They just dispose it off by destruction. Because if it comes out in the public, it will be trouble. Okay? Then conversion or classification, okay, into another form. How does that happen? You see that furniture up there, okay? Don't you think if a serious carpenter gets that furniture, they can transform it into something new, okay? Which we can use here at LDC. When your first term was about to end, before you guys went for online, yeah? Some timber was here, okay? It wasn't new timber, but don't you think it was used? You just go in the bookshop, you will see, okay? So they transform that asset into something what we call recycling, okay? Are we together? Then another one, see the second last? No. Trade in. Trade in is what we call exchange. For example, the government buys its, when you look at the UPDF pickups, they are bought from a company known as Tata, sometimes Toyota. So what they do, once there is a new modification, we can do what we call trade in. We tell you that, you know what, let us give you back the 27 model, we top up, and you give us the 2020 model. That's what we call trade in. You trade in the asset you have. You just make a top up, they give you a brand new. Okay, that's what we call trade in. Then transfer to another procuring and disposing entity. That's what happened last year. They got all the old furniture, they packed it outside there. Then a fuso came when these guys are going in for orals. They packed everything and told them, it's Council House. Okay, those guys in here, they will be using those. The guy went. So these guys entered, they asked them to submit on what they had. It was a mode of disposal from one entity to another. You see what happens when you look at the national referral hospitals, the ambulances that get old in Mulago, do you think they are thrown? Huh? They are sent to distant referral hospitals, to the local government. Okay, even cars, some cars that get old in police, they just don't dispose them off. They can transfer them to a local government. They change the number plate from that of police to the local government. We have to use these cars until the end of life. That is our money. Okay. Hey. Okay. Then the last one is donation. The only condition on donation that all the methods you've seen, they don't operate and the government can't get a single coin out of them. But imagine, I've never seen the government donating. I've ever seen that happen. Okay, they donate. Yeah. When they can sell on public auction. Okay, so we've concluded procurement in peace but not in pieces. So what is hard with procurement? Okay.
Councillor Shida, excuse me, Council.
Yes.
I had a question. What
Okay.
would you do? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
You talked about something, but it wasn't concluded very well. You hinted about where you're given price, like value of money. And maybe the question is not directing at boo-boo, but they give you the value of money, like 500 billion.
Okay.
So how would you
So
tell
what I
the
meant,
method you are
where
going to use?
in your facts they give you the amount of money, you go to the threshold. Okay. You look at the method of procurement which is within that range of money. You choose that mode. But where your facts don't disclose the amount of money, you put into consideration the other factors that we've been talking about. Okay?
So where do we find the threshold?
The threshold, the guidelines, the procurement guidelines behind. So now, colleagues, tomorrow,
thank you.
Today we had to have taxation, but we decided first to conclude this. So tomorrow, I'll be meeting council for the week. So those who are council for the week, we shall have a session tomorrow. We see how best we prepare for the month. We formulate the opening statements, the theme and the theory, and the things, how you approach courts, your decorum, and everything, so that you are set to go for Thursday and Friday. However, those who are not council for a week, we shall have tax and accounting. Okay, so miss at your own risk. Okay. We shall do that. Okay. I'll best idea with those who are mooting. Everyone, your turn is going to come. You have to miss the taxation class at a particular time because everyone has to moot. Even if you fall sick, you will moot. Okay, so every Wednesday we shall be meeting the team for that week, both sides, and we harmonize. Okay, so let me wish you guys the best. May God bless you abundantly. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.